I know October's been over for a little while, but the September update took way too long. I did pick up a decent amount, so let's just talk about them. I grabbed some new releases, and one of them being The Tax Collector, and I did a review on this, so I'll keep this short here, but I was not a fan of this one. David Ayer's kind of fallen off, and The Tax Collector is subjectively his worst film. The film stars Shia LaBeouf and Bobby Soto, and while Shia does the best he can with what he has to work with, Bobby Soto honestly gives one of the worst performances of the year in my opinion. The film is about some collectors for a drug cartel as a new cartel moves in, and war breaks out, but it never really gets as thrilling as concept. The Blu-ray doesn't really come with any special features other than some deleted scenes, so there's not really much with this release. I also grabbed The Pale Door and did a review of this as well, so go check that out. It's directed by Aaron B. Kuntz and stars Melora Waters, Stan Shaw, and Pat Healy, and is basically about a group of train robbers who wind up in a town ran by witches. It sounds like a fun movie, but it's rather bland. It's one of those movies that's good enough to keep you entertained, but bland enough to completely forget about after a couple days. The release does come with the making of, the filmmaker's commentary, and a featurette of editing The Pale Door. It's not bad, but it's nothing special either. To Your Last Death has an interesting art style for sure, but I didn't care too much for this one. The film is directed by Jason Axon and stars Marina Baccarin, William Shatner, Ray Wise, Bill Moseley, and Danny Lennon. There's some big names here for sure, but my issue is just the story. I just couldn't get invested in any character because I felt like the characters were really flat and not very dimensional or very well developed. So the stakes in this film, even though they're trying to portray them as really high, don't feel that high to me. Like I said, the animation style here is pretty interesting. It feels very similar to something like Archer, and there's plenty of gore for the hounds. The story is about a dying father basically trying to kill his children, and a godlike gambling game of how the outcome will be playing in the background. The one daughter, Miriam, is just trying to save her siblings. It sounds like a cool concept, but I just couldn't get behind it. The Blu-ray doesn't come with any special features other than the trailer, because apparently the special features are available online. I don't know why you wouldn't include them on the disc, but whatever, I guess. To Your Last Death is one that I personally didn't like, but if you're interested in this one, check it out. I also grabbed The Wonderland, and personally I really love this one. It's the newest film by Kechi Hara and stars Mayu Matazuka and Anne Watanabe. If I'm pronouncing names wrong, I apologize. I tried to look them up to pronounce them properly. And it's about a young girl and her aunt traveling to another world to save it from an evil presence. If you're a fan of Studio Ghibli movies, then this would be right up your alley. It's very fantastical while being fun and innocent with beautiful animation. Personally, my favorite part of the film was just the world building of the Wonderland itself. The Blu-ray DVD combo pack does come with some cast interview, Mayu Matazuka's amazing adventure with commentary track, the character designer and concept artist, as well as a 16-page booklet. This is a pretty cool release of a movie that I really loved and would highly recommend. Voodoo Apocalypse looks like a fun grindhouse flick that I haven't gotten around to watching quite yet, but plan on watching sometime here soon. From watching the trailer, I hope it holds up because these modern grindhouse films are pretty hit or miss. Some play into making a true grindhouse flick while others play it as a parody, and I'm not quite sure where Voodoo Apocalypse stands on this one. The DVD Blu-ray combo pack unfortunately doesn't come with any special features, which is kind of a bummer, but I believe this Blu-ray was exclusive to Walmart only. I'm not quite sure, so don't hold me on that, but I believe it was. It looked like a fun film, and I'm hoping it will be. From Arrow, I grabbed The Deeper You Dig. It has a very similar style releasing that Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway did, where it also includes the director's first film, which is called The Hatred here, and I'll be talking about that here in a minute. The set also comes with reversible artwork as well as a double-sided poster, a booklet about the film, and a ton of special features like director commentary and an in-depth interview with the filmmakers, a visual essay by Anton Bittel, special effects breakdown, Fright Fest TV interview with the Addams Family, an image gallery, theatrical trailer, and a handful of music videos. There's a reason why Arrow Video and other boutique labels cost so much, but in my opinion, it's rather worth it most of the time to get these bonus features. As for the film, it's pretty interesting. The film was made completely by a single family. The father, the mother, and the daughter all star, wrote, directed, and shot the films themselves, which is really cool. The Deeper You Dig is about a girl who goes missing, and the mother suspects that their new neighbor might be the cause. The mother's also like this tarot reader psychic who is trying to reach out to her daughter in those means. For me personally, I wasn't really digging the film until about half an hour in, and then from there on out, I was completely invested. It felt like it could have been trimmed down a little bit to kind of help with the pacing, but I did like it the more and more it went on. All three of the main leads do a pretty good job here performance-wise, and there's some good visual moments too, but there's also some really like amateurish moments, particularly the scene where John Adams' character Kurt is being interviewed by the two detectives. It just felt very awkward and very like reaction shot, reaction shot, reaction shot, reaction shot cutting that just kind of took me out of the experience. But being as low budget of a film as this one is and put together by one family, the Adams family, it's pretty cool. The set also came with John Adams' first film, The Hatred, starring himself and his real-life daughter Zelda. The film is set in the late 1800s as a girl brings back a dead soldier to life and they kind of go out for some revenges. At just under an hour, the pacing here seems much better, and I did like this one better than The Deeper You Dig. Performances here across the board are good, and while it does feel like a really low budget, because I'm sure it is, it didn't quite have these moments that felt amateurish like The Deeper You Dig did. That is a tongue twister. I also really enjoyed the setting here. I don't know, I'm starting to really enjoy these like older period pieces for some reason, but I did really enjoy this one. I'm glad it came with the set. I jumped on this set quickly because I thought it might be limited to 2,000 copies like Jesus Shows You to the Highway was, but I don't think this one is, but I would definitely recommend grabbing this one. Meat's meat and a man's gotta eat, and this is the pick of the month. I finally grabbed Motel Hell. This is one I've wanted for such a long time, but never got it because I couldn't find the Scream Factory release with a slipcase. So I heard this was getting a steelbook re-release. I pre-ordered it like immediately. The steelbook looks beautiful. The film is a really messed up dark comedy about a family that kidnaps people and keeps them alive, buried in the ground for Farmer Vincent's famous smoked meats. Honestly, going into this, I was kind of expecting a Texas Chainsaw ripoff just based off the artwork, and Motel Hell couldn't be farther from that if it tried. It's a very unique and original film that blends comedy and downright horrific moments together incredibly well. The disc also comes jam-packed with special features that I would come to expect from Scream Factory, such as the making of, Shooting Old School with Thomas Del Ruth, Ida Be Thy Name, The Frightful Females of Fear, interview with Rosanna Catton, interview with Paul Link, trailers and TV spots, behind the scenes image gallery, posters, and production gallery. This is a really cool release overall with an awesome steelbook, and I would really highly recommend this movie. I grabbed Cold Pursuit starring the Liam Neesons when I found it at Walmart for $7.96. This was a film I enjoyed in theaters but wasn't going out of my way to get until I found it for a decent price. From my understanding, this was an American remake of a Norwegian film called In Order of Disappearance by the same director, Hans-Peter Moland. I've not seen the original, but I kind of want to now. The story is about a father grieving over the death of his son. He believes that he had been murdered by drug dealers, so he kind of starts seeking out revenge, Death Wish style. Liam Neeson is good here, as he always is, but the thing that really threw me off with this movie was how much comedy there is in this film. I wasn't expecting that going in. I mean, there's some decent action set pieces here, but I just wasn't expecting the level of like humor that was in this film. The combo pack comes with some deleted scenes, an interview with the Liam Neesons, interview with the director Hans-Peter Moland, a behind-the-scenes featurette and theatrical trailer, and overall, this is just a pretty fun film that if you like Neeson's other action films, you'll probably like this one too, honestly. I picked up Ip Man 4 for some reason. I don't know, for some reason I've just been collecting all the Ip Man films, but I haven't watched any of them yet. I'm thinking of maybe getting them all and doing a video on them at some point. I'm just not sure yet. They look like movies I'd love, and I do love Donnie Yen, so I'll have to get around to watching them at some point. For physical releases though, from Wellgo USA, I'm always a little torn because it's great that they release so many independent films and foreign films. They basically do all the US releases from China, but they do a bare minimum release. Typically you only get the Blu-ray and that's it, maybe a DVD if it's a combo pack, and Ip Man 4 follows the same pattern. For special features you only get an English dub, some trailers, and a few bonus featurettes it says on the back, which is probably some kind of promotional thing or a quick interview much like their other releases. Either way, I'm excited to dive into these films eventually. I picked up the special edition of Matilda after a recommendation from a buddy of mine. This is a film he's literally been trying to get me to watch for years. It's directed by Dana DeVito and stars DeVito, Rhea Perlman, Mara Wilson, and Pam Ferris, and it's about a girl who happens to be a genius with telepathic powers, who has terrible parents and goes to an even worse school ran by the evil principal Trunchbull, played amazingly by Pam Ferris. Honestly, going into this one, I didn't think I'd like it that much. I had never watched this one as a kid, so the sentimental attachment to it wasn't there, but this film was pretty great. I was surprised at how much I laughed at this film because it's genuinely funny. The direction here is great. DeVito shoots most of this movie like like a horror film to make Matilda's situation actually feel kind of surreal. I did notice something though watching the film. This is basically the kids version of Carrie. I was personally surprised by just how much I enjoyed this film. The special edition comes along with a handful of special features like a Blu-ray exclusive feature, Afternoon Tea with the Matilda reunion, Matilda's movie Magic, a child's guide to good manners, Escape to the Library, and a featurette, My Movie About Making Matilda by Mara Wilson. I really enjoyed this one, so thanks for the recommendation, buddy. I'd recommend it to about everyone else who's watching this. Out of all the places to buy movies from, I found Devil's Knot at Menards because I'm saving big money. This is a film I watched a while ago on Netflix and I remember really liking it as a true crime mystery. The film stars Colin Firth and Reese Witherspoon. Is based on the West Memphis. It is based on the West Memphis 3. That is a hard word for me to say. Memphis, where 3 teenagers killed kids as part of a satanic ritual. From what I remember, Reese Witherspoon and Colin Firth both give good performances here, but I just remember the story being really interesting and unsettling. I mean, it stuck with me throughout these years as a film I'd really like to revisit, so when I saw it at Menards for $7, I had to grab it. I haven't rewatched it quite yet, but I want to here soon because I think Autumn would really enjoy this and she hasn't seen it. It comes with behind the scenes featurette, interviews with the cast, and deleted scenes, as well as being a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. This is a really solid film based on a true crime, and if you like those kind of movies, I'd totally recommend this. I finally found 30 Days a Night. This is a film that's been on my list for a very long time, but I've never been able to find it in store and never cared to order online because it feels like a movie I should find in a store. So when I finally came across it at Best Buy for $5-a-roonies, you know I had to grab it. To me, this is one of my favorite vampire movies. It's a brutal and violent vampire movie where the vampires feel like true monsters. They're a very versatile villain for film, and there's great examples of films using these different types really well, but when it comes to making vampires just monstrous, threatening, and downright terrifying monsters, I personally think 30 Days a Night does it best. This is one that's been on Autumn's watch list for a long time too, so we'll have to get around to rewatching it sometime here soon, because it's been a little while since I've seen it as well. As for special features, it comes with a litany of behind the scenes featurettes, audio commentary with Josh Hartnett, Melissa George, and Rod Tapert, a Blu-ray exclusive 30 images of Night's graphic novel comparison. I'm glad I finally got around to finding this one in store and grabbing it. Also, for $5-a-smackers from Best Buy was The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Rest in peace, Sean Connery. This is one I've always wanted to rewatch for a while because it's a movie that I watched several times when I was younger and always remember liking it, but never remembered much about the movie itself. As I got older, I realized that not a lot of people were fans of this movie, and it was the film that made Sean Connery want to quit acting and make director Stephen Norrington never want to direct again. After rewatching it, I still don't remember much about this film. I just watched it like a couple weeks ago, so that should probably say something. The film is set in the Victorian age, but is full of science fiction, and I really love those kind of settings where it kind of blends past and advanced technology together. Sean Connery fronts a team full of people with extraordinary powers, and they must stop an evil villain from his dastardly plot. The film brings together a lot of public domain characters like Invisible Man, Phantom of the Opera, Jekyll and Hyde, Tom Sawyer, and it's not that bad. Honestly, it's very forgettable, but it's at least entertaining enough while you're watching it that it never feels super boring, and it never skimps on the action set pieces, even if they're very dated with bad looking CGI moments. Though, this probably has one of the most complex and worst Blu-ray menus I have ever seen. Oh, it's bad. Special feature wise, we get a handful of commentary tracks, a trivia track, and a shooting gallery game that I don't really know anything about. To me, this film is just right down the middle and is very forgettable. I found some stuff this month at Big Lots on clearance for $1 or $2, and one of those being Clear and Present Danger starring Harrison Ford. This is one that I've heard about but have never watched. I started it one night after work but got too tired and turned it off and never came back to it. Honestly, the 30 minutes I watched, I was not really investing myself that much, but it could have just been from being really tired, so I'll have to actually give this a chance. The film is based off the Jack Ryan character from Tom Clancy, which isn't something that really piques my interest that much, but I've heard good things about this and I love Harrison Ford, so I'll have to give it a legitimate shot. There's not a lot of special features either, just some cast interviews and a theatrical trailer. I'll get around to watching it at some point, but it'll probably just go in the box. Another Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy film that will probably end up in my random draw box was The Sum of All Fears. I haven't watched this one yet either. This was one I've heard about before, so I just went ahead and grabbed it when I saw it for $1.25. It stars Ben Affleck and Morgan Freeman, and is probably about some kind of end of the world situation. I don't know. It does come with a little bit more special features than Clear and Present Danger, commentary by the director, cinematographer, and Tom Clancy, a making of, the visual effects breakdown, and theatrical trailer. And I'll get around to it eventually, probably. I did it. I purchased a meme for $2. Honestly, I've never seen B-Movie before, but I love the memes, so when I saw it for $2, I grabbed it just for the meme's sake. I haven't watched it yet, but I feel like I already have. I can't imagine this film actually being good, but it stars Jerry Seinfeld and Renee Zellweger, and from my understanding of the memes, it's about a human bestiality. Honestly, I do want to watch it at some point, I just don't know when, but believe me, I'll watch it. It honestly comes with a ton of special features, a featurette picture-in-picture storyboards, Barry's trivia track, customizable character menus, the world of bees, Build-A-Bee avatar, commentary tracks, deleted scenes, alternate endings. It's kind of crazy the amount of special features you get with this, but since I haven't seen it, I'll let this movie be. Aeon Flux is another movie I remember watching a few times when I was younger and liked it, but I haven't gotten around to rewatching it quite yet. But the film stars Charlize Theron and Frances McDormand, both amazing actresses, and is about an assassin trying to overthrow the government or something like that. My memory's a little fuzzy. While I remember liking it as a kid, this isn't one that I'm really claiming to rewatch right just this yet, but for something for $1, why not just go ahead and grab it, throw it in the random box, draw it later, watch it then kind of thing. It does come with a decent amount of special features such as commentary with Charlize Theron, producers and writers, behind the scenes, locations of Aeon Flux, stunt featurette, costume design featurette, the craft of the set photographer and theatrical trailer. Like I said, even though this isn't one I've seen here recently, I'm going to throw it in the box and rewatch it at some point. The Gift is one I've put off getting for a while, even though I liked the film. I wanted to get it for like $1 or $2, and finally that's what I got it for. It's the directorial debut of Joel Edgerton. He's an actor that I really love, and The Gift also stars him along with Rebecca Hall and Jason Bateman. Joel Edgerton's character just kind of shows up one day and reconnects with Bateman's character. They went to high school together and haven't seen each other in a long time, as their relationship becomes pretty estranged. It's a decent tight thriller with great characters, but I'm not sure it's one that would hold up quite as well the second viewing once you know the mystery and how the story unfolds. That's kind of the big selling point here, is just how the story unfolds. The combo pack comes with some features such as alternate ending, deleted scenes, a featurette called Karma for Bullies, the darker side of Jason Bateman, and a commentary track with Joel Edgerton. It's one that I would recommend even if you don't find it as cheap as I did, because it's definitely worth a watch. I was just holding out and I'm glad I did. A buddy of mine found Wild River at his Dollar Tree and grabbed it for me because he thought I'd like it, and I'm glad he did because I really enjoyed this one. It's a film about an agent coming to an island trying to get people to move since they're building a dam and it would flood the island, when he comes across an older woman who will not move. The film stars Montgomery Clift and Lee Limerick, and the film's directed by Elie Kazan. I've not seen much of his other stuff, but I have seen A Streetcar Named Desire and liked it too, so I'm gonna have to dive into him a little more. Montgomery Clift gives a really good performance here as well, and I just enjoyed the tone of the film overall. It's rather lighthearted while also having dramatic moments, and it's just kind of one of those films that feels like a Hollywood classic. One of my favorite parts about this film is just how well this film is shot. It looks beautiful. As for the release, it's a rather light release. You get a commentary track with a film historian Richard Schickel and the original theatrical trailer, and that's pretty much it. Overall though, I did really enjoy this one and I would totally recommend it. October was the 5th year anniversary of the horror pack, so I was really excited to see what they do, and it was a pretty sweet set. One of them it came with was the original Carrie, which in my opinion is a classic horror film that unfortunately I already own. I knew going into the horror pack I would probably get a duplicate or two just because of how much I collect, so I'm not really too sure yet what I'm going to do with the extra copy. But like I said, this is a really classic horror film that I love. I said earlier that it's very similar to Matilda. It's about a girl who has telepathic powers and a zealot mother, and she just struggles to fit in. I think everyone has seen the finale of this film. It's rather iconic, and it's honestly one of the best scenes in horror history. The film stars Sissy Spacek and John Travolta, and is directed by none other than Brian De Palma. Personally, I think this is my favorite performance by Sissy Spacek. She's just so good here as Carrie. Now, unlike the copy I originally owned, which was just a Blu-ray, the horror pack sent me a Blu-ray DVD combo pack, and apparently the special features are all on the DVD. So, I mean, you get the acting of Carrie documentary, a visualization of Carrie documentary, Carrie the musical featurette, animated photo gallery, Stephen King and the evolution of Carrie, and the original theatrical trailer. I'm sure these are all in the Scream Factory release of Carrie and probably some more bonus features, but I doubt I'll be upgrading to that unless I find it really cheap. This to me is just a must for any horror fan to collect. The pack also came with Lights Out, another duplicate of a movie I picked up a few months ago that I talked about in a past collection production update. Since then though, I have actually seen the film and it was great. I want to keep my thoughts short here since I'm still working on video of the horror pack and will be going a little more in depth about the films there. But this is the directorial debut of David F. Sandberg and stars Teresa Palmer about a monster that hides in the shadow, and the film does a really great job of playing with that premise. It's been a long time since I've seen a film that genuinely made me feel uneasy in a good way. It's very quick paced and it feels like it has some genuine bona fide scares in it, and I would highly recommend this film. The only thing that stinks is that you don't really get a whole lot with the release. You only get some deleted scenes for a special feature, and this isn't like Carrie. This is the same one that I own. I didn't get like a cool combo pack with extra features or anything like that. It's still just the standard release, which kind of stinks because I'd really like to hear like director's commentary or like a behind the scenes of this film, or at least include the original short film that this is based off of. But either way, I would still highly recommend this film. The horror pack limited edition for October was The Barn, a film that I had never heard of before, and personally I really enjoyed this one. It's a film by Justin M. Simina. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, I apologize if I am. That's stylized as a retro 80s horror film, and personally I just loved the aesthetic of this film. It's a really fun horror film that has a lot of funny moments and decent gore effects, even if there are some bad CG effects. It also comes with a lot of special features, including behind the scenes, gag reel, deleted scenes, alternate ending, trailers, music video, commentary tracks, short film, commercials, original storyboard, and premiere reactions. There is another release of this one outside of the horror pack, so I definitely recommend checking this one out. It's pretty good and I had a lot of fun with it. If you like horror comedies, then I would definitely recommend it. And the last thing I got from the horror pack in October is Dead Dicks. This is another film that I didn't know anything about, and also has another release put out by Artsploitation Films. They're a pretty decent company that's put out some cool releases, but this is a really fun, well-written, low-budget horror film about a man who tries to kill himself and is reborn through a vagina-shaped hole in his wall. I remember watching this one and being about 20 minutes into the film and feeling to myself that this is probably going to get really old really fast, but the film is so well written that it constantly presents new ideas to keep the film engaging and going. To me, this is how you make a low-budget film. It utilizes its resources really well and has two great lead performances by Heston Howren and Gillian Harris. This film is going to make Chris Bavada and Lee Paul Singer, the directors, definitely be on my watch list for what they do next. The Blu-ray comes with the director's commentary behind the scenes, video diaries, and Zoom with the cast and crew, trailer, and photo gallery, so I definitely want to check out the behind the scenes after watching this film. I'd really recommend this one, and October was a pretty great horror pack. Although I already own 2 copies of the films included, I really enjoyed it because it came with 2 movies that I knew nothing about that I really enjoyed, so like I said, be on the lookout for that horror pack video. I asked my buddy to grab me a few things at his Dollar Tree that I couldn't find at mine, so thanks dude, you the best. One of those being Distorted, starring Christina Ricci and John Cusack. I haven't gotten around to watching this one just yet, but the cast made me interested alone. Even if John Cusack really hasn't tried in a movie in a long time, I still hope that he gives a good performance because he's given some really great performances in the past, so I'm like hopeful he'll come back to glory. He just never does. And I've really never seen Christina Ricci give a bad performance, but I also haven't seen a ton of movies that she's in. Just the ones I've seen her in, she's been really good. This combo pack comes with interviews, production featurette, story and themes featurette, and a future and filmmaking featurette. This is one that's destined to go in the random box, and I'll watch it then. Trollhunter is one of those films I've heard good things about, and after watching it, I'll probably be upgrading this one to Blu-ray at some point in time if I find it for a good deal. It's a found footage film directed by Andre Overdahl, who also directed Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, and is basically a film of footage that's edited together that was found after a college film crew went missing, and it's kind of about them following around a troll hunter, and it's just kind of a lot of fun. Yes, the trolls can look bad at times because of its lower budget, but it's one of those films that has so much spirit and charm in it that you completely look past those flaws. For me, found footage has always been kind of hit or miss, but this film is almost shot like a documentary style, so it works really well here. The performances are believable, which helps sell the illusion. There's one scene in particular that I really loved where the film crew gets stuck inside of a cave as a gaggle of trolls come in and they're trying to buy their time to get out, and that scene was truly heart-pounding at moments. The thing I really loved about this film was the fact that they went all in on the troll lore, all the way down to even like smelling like a Christian will set them into a blood frenzy. It's just a super fun movie that comes with some deleted scenes, improv and blooper reel, extended scenes, behind the scenes, photo galleries, and a look at Trollhunter. It's one that I personally don't think the quality will be very much better on the Blu-ray since it is just found footage, but it will probably help with some compression rates being on Blu-ray, but I would definitely recommend Trollhunter for sure. Black Swarm is another entry into the Maneater series, and while the film isn't really good, it is one of the better ones in the series. Basically, it's about a woman and her daughter moving back into the mother's hometown as she becomes a new sheriff, deputy, bee, something like that, when a bunch of killer bees start attacking people and turning them into these zombie-like creatures, and it's rather fun, honestly. It has Robert Englund, most known for playing Freddy Krueger in a smaller role, and he's pretty fun, but what really surprised me was the child performance by Rebecca Windtime. She does a really great job considering especially how low budget this film is, and typically child actors even in high budget films are not the best. Really, there's not a lot of bad performances here, but it is a low budget made for TV sci-fi horror kind of movie, so the bees aren't super believable, but it is rather fun. Unfortunately, there's basically no special features here other than a trailer, and it doesn't have the man-eater slipcase, unfortunately. That kind of bums me out, but at least it wasn't as bad as Sand Serpents. I was so happy my buddy sent me a pic of I Saw the Devil at his Dollar Tree because honestly, this is probably my favorite movie of the haul. It more than likely would have been pick of the month if it was the Blu-ray release, and depending on some of the special features. The DVD mainly only includes deleted scenes and behind the scenes, but I got to see this film in theaters on glorious 35mm, and it looked stunning. It's a very brutal and disturbing Korean thriller that is a cat and mouse chase of hunting down this serial killer. It's a psychological thriller that tortures its main characters, making it a thrilling, edge-of-your-seat, suspenseful film with amazing performances. It stars Choi Min-sik, most known for Oldboy, and is directed by Kim Ji-woon, who also directed A Tale of Two Sisters, another film that I would definitely recommend. I'll be upgrading to this one to Blu-ray at some point, but I just am happy to have a copy of the film in my collection, and for $1, it's a steal. I would super recommend this film. Another awesome Dollar Tree find is Murder Party. This is the directorial debut of Jeremy Saulnier, the director of Blue Ruin and Green Room. Both films I would recommend, and I'd recommend this one as well. It's a fun film about a loner finding an invitation to a Halloween party when he finds out that the party is rather murderous. The back of the case says it's Napoleon Dynamite meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and honestly, it does kind of feel like that's a decent description. It's a fun, low-budget horror comedy that has some really good moments. The DVD comes with the making of, Lexi's art installation, outtakes, how to make your own Brown Night costume, pumpkin bread recipe, and commentary track. This is one I'd really like to see like Scream Factory or Severin or somebody give it a proper Blu-ray release, because it really does deserve it. I grabbed Paradox from the Dollar Tree because it looks like it could be a fun action film. It's by the director of the Ip Man trilogy, Wilson Yip. I've yet to open this one up, and it'll probably just go into the random box we watch at a later time. It's put out by Wellgo USA, so not a lot of special features, just a behind the scenes English dub and trailer. I don't have much expectations for this one, but I'm just kind of hoping it'll be fun. I also found Ip Man Season 1 at Dollar Tree. I didn't even know there was a series adaptation of it, but I figured that if one day I make the Ip Man Films video, that I would probably include this series too, so why not grab it for $1? There doesn't seem to be any special features on this set, and I've yet to open this one up, but who knows, maybe it'll be fun. I'm not sure when I'll get around to watching this, or if I'll actually make the video on the series, but it will go into the Ip Man collection. And finally, the last thing I grabbed in October was Harley Quinn the Animated Series Season 1, and we just finished it at the time of recording this, and I absolutely loved this season. It's put out by DC's animated line, so the animation's on par with their animated movies, but this show holds no punches whatsoever. It's violent, gory, with a really dark sense of humor, and goes far with it. But it also keeps the characters very rich and well developed. Season 1 follows Harley Quinn's breakup with the Joker and her new obsession with trying to get in the Legion of Doom, all along with teaming up with Poison Ivy, King Shark, Dr. Psycho, and Clayface. It's basically what Birds of Prey was trying to do, but done so much better here. It's nice too to see a series go this far, embracing the TVMA rating with no regards whatsoever. I really look forward to Season 2 and probably day 1 Season 2 when it comes out. The set doesn't come with any special features, and unfortunately Season 1 at this time is only on DVD, and from my understanding Season 2 will only be on DVD as well. I'd really love to get a Blu-ray or 4K of this. I mean, it does look good on DVD, but it'd be nice to get that real crisp 4K or Blu-ray. This is a series that I would highly recommend after finishing Season 1, and I can't wait to watch Season 2. If you're a fan of the DC Universe and Harley Quinn, definitely check this one out. And with that, that's been my update for October. I know it's a little late because the September one, Jesus Christ, took forever. But still, got some great stuff this month, and still maybe a little more than intended. But I'll see you in December, probably for the November update. Peace.